What is the Cowboys' biggest weakness that the Niners can attack?
I think it's Dallas' secondary, because I saw, other than just like the stats that I'm seeing that they can be, especially towards this later half of the year, they've been able to get had. And I know like they looked pretty locked down against the Bucks, but I mean, Brady was missing passes like Jesus. I mean, I could have sworn I could have thrown a better ball than him. It was crazy. He was missing them. He was missing like crazy. And I wasn't really too impressed with the route concepts, at least with like the 49ers. I know Kyle Shanahan is going to like dial something up. Is going to take advantage of them. I mean, we saw it last year against the Cowboys. I know it's a different Cowboys team, different Niners team, but
Yeah.
I think he's going to know what to do in this game. And especially after watching this last Seattle game where Kyle's just like every play was there in that first half for Purdy. He literally pulled a Jimmy Garoppolo that first half by leaving so much on the table, which is funny because I remember tweeting saying like, I know you're trying to get your guy like some comfort, some comfortability and confidence early on, but Kyle, can we get a little more run plays? I know they're not all going to go for like 3+ yards, but can we get it off balance? Can we get left pressure off your rookie quarterback? But I didn't realize until after watching the game back on the all 22 is, man, everything was open and he just wasn't hitting them or seeing them. So, I mean, the passing attack works, and I think that's going to be something you take advantage of because outside of Trayvon Diggs, they don't really have like a necessarily like great player in the secondary, kind of like the 49ers almost. And with so much talent around, I think that's where they can expose it, and they should be able to.
Yeah, I think that's a good one. I got more. How about, so everyone's talking about the Cowboys' run defense. I don't know about that. I mean,
I don't know about that either.
Leighton Vander Esch is a really good linebacker. Anthony Barr is a really good linebacker. Their D linemen, they're a little small, but so are the Niners' offensive line.
Against the run, not against the pass.
I feel like I know the Niners ran really well against them last year. I don't know about that. Yeah, it was different. To me, yeah. I'm more concerned. I feel like a bigger weakness is the Cowboys linebackers in coverage. Like Leighton Vander Esch, he's a good player, but he can't cover Christian.
He gets spin like a top and route cut.
Oh my God! So I think like it's such a big mismatch that Dan Quinn has to think about using safeties in that matchup, and then like, are you taking your linebackers off the field entirely, and then can you stop the run? So I think that's a big conundrum for the Cowboys. It's like because the Niners press the issue on that immediately. Like, as soon as they get the ball, the first drive, if it's 9 plays, 7 of them could go to McCaffrey, and like 4 of them could be passes. And then you're down 7-0. So you better have a plan for that right away. And so far, teams haven't. I don't know.
Yeah, then you got Debo can probably be attacked from the backfield. Mitchell is actually a passing threat too now. Juszczyk. Oh my God.
Whenever they get him involved, they win. Whenever they get him involved. He's like the secret. Yeah, he's so. I mean, he's just.
You can't account for him.
You can't account for him. He's the 5th guy. Same with Jennings when he's on the field. Yeah, I love that.
Which is actually that's another thing that I like also about the 49ers attacking their passing game is they're using multiple receivers to take the top of the defense off, or at least like open up the middle of the field. They're using Jennings. I saw Ray McLeod. Did Danny Gray get a play and do that too? Or I don't know. I saw those two at least, but they're sending guys down the field. They're doing whatever they can. Like Kyle's like right now, the way he's operating the passing attack, I'm just like, who the hell am I watching? Who am I watching call these plays? So I think this is going to be another test for him to really show what he can do in a quarterback that he actually trusts.
I think it's one thing we've seen with Purdy is he doesn't throw outside the numbers to the right very much. He just doesn't do it. He likes to throw to his left. He likes to roll to his left. He likes to throw to his left. Mm-hmm. And it'd be interesting if the Cowboys put Diggs on that side of the field, the defensive right, the offensive left, and said, go ahead, throw over the left if you want. Or if you kind of try to funnel him back to the right side, I wonder if that could work or something. I don't know. It seems to me that like Diggs, he can be beat, kind of like Charvarius Ward, but when he wins, he picks you off. And one of the only ways the Niners lose this game is if Brock Purdy starts throwing picks. And frankly, he threw a couple passes in the first half against Seattle that could have got intercepted. Mm-hmm. And so he's been, that's football. Sometimes they get picked, sometimes they don't. But eventually, he may stop getting so lucky. And so the fact that they have McCaffrey, that's nice. I feel like you don't have to force those passes. Just check it down.
This might be the old throwback game plan for the 49ers, even if they don't want to necessarily like throw 10 plus 15 yard plus passes that we're used to seeing them now with Purdy. This might be a throwback game where we just see them go yak because it worked last year. I know, again, different team, but ultimately, I think like the same thing you said, because I do agree. I think that's also another weakness is their linebackers and coverage. Anthony Barr and Leighton Vander Esch are not fast. They're not like, I wouldn't say they're not like technique savvy in terms of like guarding receivers or running backs. And I think that's something they're going to take advantage of. Just shallow crossers, let them go off, let them tee off, run past them. And I think they can run over them because I think both sides of the ball, they're not necessarily like tough or overly aggressive. I wouldn't say they're as soft as like years past, but I think compared to the Niners, I think the Niners could push them over. I think that would be a game plan they could use to utilize like yak. And then when you see need fit, then all right, now let's test their secondary. Let's go over the top and really expose them.
And you got to take this Cowboys pass rush seriously.
That's going to be another thing. How is your 49ers pass pro going to be there today? I mean, today.
But the Niners are so good. I mean, because they've had this conundrum with the Rams in the past. An overwhelming pass rush. What do you do? The Niners are so good at getting the ball out of the quarterback's hands immediately and turning these pass rushers into like, chasers. Now you're chasing the player across the field. Now you're trying to tackle Deebo Samuel across. They do this all the time. So they should be able, they know what to do. But now it's Brock's turn to do it. Jimmy didn't do so well he won, but they won in spite of him last year. I remember that game. He threw a pick at the end.
He gave them the game, Brad.
He gave them
the game.
Not only did he throw the pick, but he messed up a quarterback sneak. He called the hike too early. And Kyle said it after the game. They had a false start. And then the only reason the Niners won is because freaking Dak Prescott slid too late on a scramble and couldn't get the spike down. They would have had a chance for one play at the end zone, and he couldn't. He messed it up. That's how close that game was last year because of Jimmy. And he only turned it over once. So let's see.
Because really, that game was not close at all. It was literally Jimmy was the best defense of the Cowboys that game. It was literally the best defense because they couldn't stop. I think they had a drive where they went run the whole way at one point.
Yeah, I want to keep going on this topic because last year a big reason the Niners won is because they sacked Dak Prescott 5 times.
And ran
They sacked him. And like if you remember, the Niners were doing that. Like, I remember week 18, I think they sacked Matt Stafford 5 times in that game. Like they were dominant. And it wasn't just Bosa. It was Armstead. It was Key. It was Menahue. It was all of them. And they would just swarm you. And they were doing it a lot. They did it in that game. They won. Dak was awful. He was worse than Jimmy in that game statistically, I think. Yes. He completed less than 50% of his passes. Anyway, the Niners haven't been doing that to teams this year. I mean, they haven't had more than 3 sacks in a game since like Carolina. And a big weakness for the Cowboys to me is their offensive tackles and pass protection. They got 77, who's been there for 10, 15 years. What's his name? Tyron Smith. They moved him from left tackle. They abused him last year. I mean, Charles and Menahue tore him apart last year. Now he's on the right side. And the left side, they have Jason Peters, who's like 40, or someone or someone else. So to me, the Niners have to be really pressing the issue on the edges. The Bucks they don't have edge rushers. The Niners do. So that's a big one.
Yeah, that's going to be a huge one. I wonder how much they're going to blitz because I didn't realize like, again, just watching back. I love watching back the games. It shows you something you didn't really like know or realize. It's like D'Amico Ryan's actually blitzed a fair amount, especially in that first half against Seattle. I'm watching and I'm talking about literally like he was sending 6. I was watching Fred and Talanoa going in there. So I wonder if like they're gonna be able to handle that because I don't know how much often like really like the Bucs were blitzing Dak so much. I felt like he had a lot of like time. But even then,
I felt like they were blitzing him up the middle. Like Bowles
it was too much. Yeah, it wasn't creative. It was always up the middle.
Send it off the edges.
They were able to like create like a great like net and just hold each other's arms, almost like a Red Rover type of situation. Where I was like, you ain't getting through. no, bro, you ain't getting through.
But what Dak did a good job of in that game was stepping out of the pocket, finding that open B gap, and instead the Niners can't let him do that. He can do it. He's good. He's mobile enough.
But they're gonna let him do it. You know
dude, if they can't stop the run. If they let him do that, if he takes shots down the field, if he doesn't turn the ball over, and they're going to lose. Like, they got to play better on defense. They can't be doing that same old crap that they've been doing the last month. They got to play more discipline. And the last thing I want to talk about here is Bosa. I feel like he's been getting neutralized a little bit the last month, and I don't know if he's running out of gas or that D'Amico's running out of creative ways to use him, but it can't happen. He's the best player in the league. He had no sacks last week. He had no sacks against the Raiders. Can't happen. He's got to be a big factor in this. And I know they won basically without him last year in Dallas, but that's one time. And this time, I have ideas because I feel like D'Amico's out of them. If you just here's the thing. Remember, they used to do this a lot with Bosa. Third down, he's standing at the snap. He's standing like in front of the center. and he's not declaring which side he's going to, and he's kind of like prowling around before, and then he like when the ball gets snapped, he sort of picks a lane afterward and starts rushing it. I kind of like that because you can't chip him that way, and it's a nice change up, and I don't see him do it anymore. So what I would say is, hey, on a third down, why don't you like have a solid front where you have 2 linebackers, two tackles, and 2 ends and a nose tackle, 5 guys, and then just have freaking Bosa as the 6th guy roaming around. No one can block. The only guy who can block him is the back. Or if they have another call, they can like slide the line and have the back take a line. Do something crazy like that. It's not even crazy. You're welcome. Quality control. It's a nickel. Grant Cohn.
There was one rep, and I know it doesn't tell the whole story but what I saw when Bosa got shut down was it wasn't a technical double team, but in the end he got double team where I think he shot a shoot inside from his end position, and either the guard or the tackle, like when they kicked back to do the pass pro, after like a second or two, no one came and invaded. He just turned and got into Bosa, and they both just like ended up double teaming him. So it wasn't like, an assigned double team, but it was like, I was thinking like, wouldn't it try to like behoove the 49ers to try to get someone else to shoot another defensive lineman towards Bosa's side? So like, kind of like what they do with the stunting, or just to like, take, so like it forces them into a one-on-one situation, because I mean, running back to chip him doesn't really like affect him too much. It's when like you get other big bodies in front of him to slow him down.
Yeah. Before we move on, and this was more of the other topic, I brought up the Cowboys run game because they have, big guards, and they have Tony Pollard. And remember, the Niners did a good job against their run game last year. They had DJ Jones. He's not on this team anymore. And, they have this year, they don't have Ridgeway anymore. Kevin Givens is small. He's just coming back. Who they have in the middle there. It hasn't been as stout recently.
It's just Ty McGill's like the standout.
Ty McGill's like 290-something pounds, man. Like, it's just not what it was earlier in the year, and I'm a little concerned about like this Cowboys run game isn't even special. It's not. It's mediocre. They got a couple good blockers and a nice quick scat back who's a Pro Bowler, I guess. But it's gonna get. I mean,
Pollard can run the ball.
The Giants have a
tweet with the ball in his hands. He should be the starter.
I like Pollard. But the Giants have a better run game than that. The Eagles have a better run game than that. So this is going to be something the Niners have to address, even if they win down the line.